Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Brigid. I'm Brigid Burke, and we keep flipping places where you're actually going to be able to see me. Usually, sometimes I have the window view. Now I've got the bedroom view again, and mainly because lighting. Right now, the light there's enough. Good morning, Alex. There's enough light to see me right now, so I was like, okay, this way I don't have to use. I know that for certain people who come on every morning, 7 o'clock is actually a good time for them, and if I make it later, it's not that good. So I'm going to see how long I can hold on to this time slot. I feel like I'm still going to have to move it up to at least like 7:15 at some point, maybe, or a little bit later, because it's just very... Because when I'm looking at it now, like when I want to watch the sun come up, I'd almost rather be doing this kind of towards the end of that process. So anyway, blah blah. Good morning, and I hope I'm gonna wait to see who else comes up. Anytime works for me. Whatever works for the group and you is what you're saying, Alex. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it was Suda in particular who said that she didn't know if it was going to work. Now we are going to have our chat today at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock Eastern time anyway, which you and I are both in that time zone. So we're going to have the the little Zoom call today. So that'll be nice. And I'm just finishing up readings today. I did 3 yesterday. I did Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and I'm going to be doing, good morning. And I'm going to be doing, I'll be doing Cancer, Leo, and Virgo this morning. And I've got a few things to catch up on, some meditation that I want to do. And then after that, I'm going to be in, then we have the thing. Yes, good morning. So anyway, I'm trying to, I was thinking this morning what I wanted to do. I was up somewhat early today and was doing my Azrael messages early in the morning. About different things. Today's supposed to be a rather interesting day because they're saying today is going to be with this full moon in Gemini, and Mercury retrograde ends. It's funny. I think it ends around it's like 3:56 in the afternoon today. So we'll see what Mercury can throw at us between now and in the end. Although, as we know, post shadow can also be problematic. But today is supposed to be a day where, again, what I've seen is there's supposed to be this kind of moment of clarity that comes in for a lot of people. And there's going to be, a shift over the next week or so to where we have felt very, very confused. And there's still like a lot of confusion. Like a lot of the energy I see is still like Neptune and Pisces type energy where it's like, this could be real, maybe not, there's that, or not really kind of being sure where we're at or whether or not the information we're getting about things is good information. And Alex says, I already think I started these clarifying moments personally. Well, that's good. Yeah. And I think I have had them too. And I feel like there's certain things, but there's just certain, I know right now it seems for me, and I don't know if this is true for a lot of other people, that a lot of the work that I'm doing right now is kind of tying up loose ends. There's a lot of changes that need to be made, and I'm still kind of being urged. I'm trying to finish up my semester, actually, with the university, because I've got myth papers to grade. I've graded all my religion papers. I was smart this year. I made the due dates like a week apart so that I wasn't grading 70 papers at one time. But I do need to get on to getting the grading done. That was really kind of be my task for tomorrow. Although tomorrow, it's going to be a busy day. Tomorrow, I normally do the Cattonia live stream. I'm probably going to put that off till Thursday again this week, which I don't like to do, but I forgot Jenny and I are actually going out at lunchtime tomorrow. And so I just thought, okay, well, rather than put the pressure on me for a live stream, let's just do it a little later in the week. And if I don't do Monday, I usually do Thursday. And I haven't uploaded any of those to the YouTube channel. I still need to go back. Because I know there's some people who will watch these morning coffees exclusively on YouTube, and I feel like I should be trying to put these up every 2 or 3 days, but there ends up being such a long list of things that I have to get through every day, every week, that I'm like at the end of the day, and it's a process because I've got to download it from Instagram, which you can't do if I go into my archives and I say download. it runs and it runs and it runs and it runs and it's kind of frozen, and then you go to download it and then it does nothing, and then you got to go out, go back in, go through the process again, and then it'll download it. Like, it never does it the first time for some reason. And so that can take me, it takes a fair amount of time. Like, I have to just stand there. And the thing is, you have to stand there and hit the little download button at the right time. So you can't even just walk away and wait, And then after that, it goes into my photos, and I have to wait for it to sync with my laptop, which is why I'm afraid to do certain upgrades right now, because I'm like, I don't want the syncs to get screwed up, because I really don't want to move to Mac Sequoia. I'm hearing things about it that I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like eventually I'm going to have to do something, but I don't want, not during Mercury retrograde, certainly. So, so it syncs with my photos, and then from my photos, I have to pull it out to my desktop, which also takes time because they're MOV files, and actually these files don't take very long. Some of the other ones that I do, like the tarot videos, those take a while. I have to wait, I have to make sure that they sync up, and then once they've synced up, then I can pull them over, and then from there, I can go upload them to YouTube. So it's not just like, okay, boom, I'm just going to take it and upload it to YouTube. In theory, it should be that easy, but it's not. And I don't like to do all the YouTube stuff on my phone. I'm not somebody who can sit there and do this. I have to do it the other way. So, yeah, so that's unfortunately why this takes more time. People might just think, oh, well, just download it each day and put it up. But then I also have to sign out of my Cattonia account and sign into my Liminal Tarot account, which undoes all of the security I have for my job, for the university, because they have like 6 layers of security. And for some reason, it's tied to the email I use for the Cattonia account, which is not my work email. And then I have to go back in and re-sign in and go through all the steps of verification just to go in and check like my work email and stuff, which is why I fall behind on that, because if the phone's on the other side of the house and I'm like, well, crap, because I've got to go to my phone, I got to do verifications on my phone, and it's a real, I understand why all that's in place, but it really cramps my style when I'm trying to do things that, again, that should be very simple and I should be able to do very quickly. I find that I can't do that. So, so this is why everything is taking way longer than it should, because some people are probably like, well, geez, why don't you just upload these things? But yeah, it does take me more time than I would like. So, but I do want to get this week. I am going to be posting classes this week. You're just too awesome, that's all. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Yeah, I have, I've got, I'm going to be offering more classes and things as we know, and I'm going to be putting those up, very soon, I think. Probably during this week I'll be advertising, and I think most of the classes are going to be in January. I wanted to do a December Dream Workshop, but I don't see where I'm going to fit that in with everything else happening with the holidays and stuff like that. There's a lot of family stuff going on. So, I'm, and with friends too. I mean, this is the time of year, and that's what I said, get me while I still have money, because January usually tends to be very lean, because I'm not, that's that month off that I'm not getting paid by the university. So, so I'm like, yeah, let's just do it now. So I don't know. So anyway, I'll be planning for that this week. So people who have been looking for classes and stuff, and Alex, actually, you and I have a class to plan, so I will get that together this week and send you the details as well. December goes fast, lots of moving pieces. Yeah, and that's it. We're already at the 15th. We're already pretty much halfway through the month. And so 2025 ain't that far off, and it's going to be kind of crazy. Yeah, no rush or worry. Thank you. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, that will be fairly straightforward. Plus all the instructors have gotten back to me for the ISFM as to what they want to do. I know, Susie's the additional one, and she's gone to Austria, so I need to just, and actually I have some editing work to do for her too. So I need to connect with her and just, at least get her entitlements, so I can at least kind of vaguely talk about what she's going to do, so that people know what her credentials are, because she has taught at NYU and she's done other things as well, even though she doesn't have a PhD. She does have master's. She has master's level, and she has taught writing and stuff before. So, yeah, I'm happy, and she just said she's just happy to do it because she's a huge supporter of Cattonia, both financially and otherwise, and she's just like, oh no, I would really like to do this. So, I'm very much inclined to, yeah. I mean, I feel like she will add something definitely to what we're doing. So, Yeah, and she's working on a very interesting novel that right now that it is a fascinating. If you really like sci-fi and speculative, I mean, it's really good. It's really an intense novel. In some places, it's actually kind of graphic, but not in a kind of a sexual way. But in just a it's like an action thriller the way that you run through it. It's like if you took Alice in Wonderland and made it an action movie. It's like crazy. So it's so yeah. I've been trying to work through that carefully. I don't. I know she's trying to get everything just right. So anyway, that's kind of the updates. What I was going to do this morning is I was just going to. I have my Wisdom of the Tao cards, which I really like, which were a gift from my friend Vivian. She was actually our next door neighbor growing up for years. She's probably was closer to my oldest brother's age. I think they were kind of in school at the same time. In fact, I'm going to finally be seeing her this coming Saturday. We looked at our things. I was like, oh my God, I haven't gotten together with her and her husband in like a year. So like, oh yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, it hasn't. There's a lot of people I haven't. Normally I go out and socialize a lot more, but this year, usually because of financial constraints and stuff, I haven't been doing that as much. And normally I'd be going to England at this time of year, but unless other monies turn up, which, they might. Who knows, right? I'm not going to say that they never say never, right? But, I mean, I will be back there at some point next year. So, let's see. Let's see what theme comes up for today. Ooh, goodness. All right. Oh. Wow. Two themes came up. All right. So you're going to love this. The first one is called space clearance. And I was literally just talking about decluttering, right? Let's see. Now this seems weird, but I need a little torch to look at this because my eyesight is so not good. I mean, it's just the kind of, I think I've complained a little bit about the fonts and the way that the graphics are laid out. I mean, it's a pretty book that this comes in, but there's a lot. Sometimes there's these kind of drawings and stuff over the words, and I have to really see it. I have to kind of look at it this way. So anyway, okay, space clearance. All right, so environmental space includes workspace, home, and car. These areas may be, and I would actually also indicate, say, social media, computer, or phone. I would add that. These areas may be dirty, stagnant, decaying, or cluttered with undesirable objects and associations. Personal space includes emotional and behavioral patterns. Negative energies in those areas include a lack of energy, anger, depression, anxiety, jealousy, excess grief, unpredictable mood swings, fatigue, and various health issues. You may be emotionally out of balance. Your mind and body might be out of sync with each other. Symptoms may be nightmares, unexplained health issues, and out-of-control behaviors or unknown causes. It is Taoist custom to regularly cleanse your physical space. This is also energy work in Feng Shui. Cleansing is straightforward. Flip page here. Find an open space to clear your mind. Spend time to detox in a natural setting, close to water, a forest, or a mountain. Use breath work to rid yourself of the bad qi fostered in your system so you can see and think clearly. A diseased body could be the result of poor nutrition or lack of exercise and sleep, among many other things. To cleanse your body, understand the cause of the physical ailments. Use Tai Chi and Qigong to enhance your energy. Taoists have always believed that cultivating qi is one of the most effective wellness techniques, and you need to maintain vital qi flow for a young and disease-free body. Pay attention to what you put in your system, eat healthy, and drink a lot of fluids. Cleansing environmental space requires actual hygienic cleansing of living and working areas. Clutter must be removed, ample space must be available for qi to travel through. Repair any signs of aging and decay. In addition to physical cleansing, spiritual cleansing may be necessary for some areas. To cleanse your space of unwanted spiritual energy, she gives a whole bunch of steps, again, involving either sage or using sound. You can often, I always sometimes go onto YouTube and I will find these kinds of Qigong kinds of things where they'll play the sounds and I can have them playing in the living room. And and it says, and if you feel your space is really toxic, you can always get a professional to do it. So, okay, anyway, that's kind of her take on this. Mei Jing, I think her name is Mei Jing Liu. And it's, and so, yeah, and that is something we've been getting a lot in the Virgo space, right? We've been seeing a lot about sixth house, clutter, declutter, getting rid of things. And of course, this is probably a reminder to me. I mean, it's weird because as I'm decluttering my space, I feel like I've got, my altar is gone. And you could probably see there's just some boxes here with stuff. And it feels weird because it feels like I'm either moving in or moving out. And that's something that's a bit jarring to me. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and she's undergoing some different kinds of changes, but she had kind of said, she was just like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe this is happening. And that's kind of the way I feel about my own situation. Like, yeah, I can't believe I'm making these changes. And there may be a lot of people who feel that way. I think that's where the Piscean energy comes in too, because we feel almost like there's changes that are going on, but and we know that we're working towards a particular change, but it doesn't feel real somehow. Because when we try to reach into that space and say, okay, I'm going to ground myself in that new space, it's almost like you're reaching your foot out and you can't find firm ground yet. You know, it's like, where am I stepping into? Am I stepping into an abyss? You know, like where am I? You know, that's where I think there's that sense of feeling disconnected. But certainly there's this idea of emptying the space around you. And I feel like that's not just our physical space, which can be a representation of our psychological space too. When people feel like they need to hoard a lot of stuff or keep a lot of stuff, the question then becomes, why the need to do that? My sister, it's funny, she's always been an advocate of, at one point, like when she moved from California, they got rid of everything. Like her husband is kind of a hoarder. He has so much stuff, and he had huge record collections. He had his Beatles collection was insane. It was huge. And she had told him, she's like, look, you better start selling this off, because if you pass away, I'm just going to end up selling the whole lot to somebody for like $100, and it's worth a lot more than that. So he did. He started going on eBay, and he's one of those people who kind of needs like a hobby like that. Like he used to do those Coke rewards things, and that's how I got my Keurig. He actually had enough Coke points to get a Keurig. He had called me. He's like, do you drink coffee? Do you need one of these? I was like, if that's a reward you want to get and you don't want to spend it on something else, then fine. So that's how I got my Keurig. And that's just kind of him. He just kind of likes to do that. Now his obsession is kind of Shutterfly, and he likes to make all these things, which I'm not as crazy about that obsession, because he'll make calendars and things with like my grandnieces on them. And I'm like, look, I'm going to recycle this calendar. I don't want to be recycling photos of my grandnieces. I don't feel good about that, and I don't want to put them in the shredder. That I also don't feel good about that. So you're making something that I feel like I can't throw away. And I know a lot of other people feel the same way. Like no matter how well intended it is, it doesn't. I don't necessarily want all of this stuff. I don't put photos of people up all around my house. I have a couple of things. Most of the photos I have pictures that my friend drew of my spirit guides, and I have a Krishna, and I have one of my two grandnieces. When one of them was a little baby, and that's about it. I don't keep. I don't have a wall of family photos. So in any case, yeah, space clearance, and sometimes the way we keep our physical space is a manifestation of how we feel psychologically. And that's why I think a lot of times, and Alex says, yeah, I feel that. I don't even want anyone giving me things anymore. Gifts are nice, but I don't need stuff. Right, exactly. And yeah, that's made the holidays really tricky for me, because I find people are saying, well, what do you want? And most of the stuff I'm asking for is either non-tangible stuff, like, okay, give me a gift certificate for a massage with Melissa, or give me, or travel stuff that I need for actually traveling. That's what I've asked for. And yeah, Alex says, yes, agreed. Just things that are not, where I don't, things that are more about, or something more financial, where it's like, I know everybody's kind of hating on Amazon right now, but I'm like, well, if somebody even sent me an Amazon gift card, it's like, okay, well, I can go online and order, coffee and vitamins and other things that I need that way, that I still need regularly, regardless of whatever else is going on. And then that way, when I have less money, then I've got some money, or if I, maybe I can get something on there that I need as it comes up. And clothes are another thing too, because I'm saying, okay, I only start discarding certain clothes and as they get worn out, and I'm like, and I haven't, I've been doing more thrift shopping, if I'm going to actually buy clothes, because we have a place called The Hut, which is not that far from here. I can actually drive there in about 7 minutes. but it is a second hand. And I remember I bought like when they had one of their sales, I was able to buy like, what was it? Did I buy any pants? I think I bought shirts mainly. I think I bought like 20. I think I bought like 10 shirts, and I bought a pair of shoes, and I bought a whole bunch of other stuff, and I think I only spent $20 total. And everything is like new, so it's not even like, it's not like crappy stuff. It's like new. So, yeah, people donate a lot of good stuff. So I'm kind of more in that mode rather than, because I don't really like any of the new fashions. I'm like, and I don't like the way the newer jeans are cut and stuff. I just, yeah, I don't care for it. I have my own style, and it tends to be more the kind of thing I'm going to find in thrift. But anyway, yeah, it's been hard with the holidays when people say, "What do you want?" And for me, it's like, yeah, I got rid of a lot of the Christmas ornaments and lights and stuff. I even got rid of like the antique lights my grandmother had, which still worked just fine. But I was just like, you know what? What am I've been getting rid of all this stuff that when I look at it and I think, oh, maybe, but then I'm like, no, like, what are you going to do? What's the point of putting this in a box and shipping it somewhere else? I mean, if I feel there's a purpose to it, then I'm going to keep it, But when I got divorced from my husband years ago, I mean, when we moved out, I threw out everything because our furniture was really old anyway. I threw everything out. And then I had gotten 2 new futons for the inside of the house. One I was using as a bed. Obviously, as you see, I replaced that. And I gave the futon to a friend who needed it for her daughter. But then I have another one downstairs. And then, yeah, everything else has just been, I don't know. I remember when I moved into my first apartment after leaving my husband, it was like I had like 5 boxes. That was it. Of stuff that, and then, of course, when you live somewhere, the books are the big thing. Everything kind of grows. But even those, I feel like I'm still doing intellectual work, but I feel like I'm like, okay, what books do I actually consult? What ones do I actually need? And which ones am I keeping around, just in case? So there's a lot there that I feel like I need to, that I'm going to be unloading. So, and Suda, good morning. Yes, Alex said, I asked for coffee and hot cocoa, something I'll actually use. Well, there you go. And, and coffee is, well, depending on what kind of coffee you get, it's not always cheap either. It's, I just find that I'm going out and looking for sales, but there's certain kinds of coffee that I prefer. And a lot of times I have to order it online because I can't find it, This I managed to get in the grocery store. They're selling out their pumpkin spice, so I was just like, all right, I'm gonna grab it before, while it's only $4. Good morning. So we were going through the Dow cards, and we just had space clearance was our topic. We had a second card topic, and that was the truth card that came out. Okay, so let me see what this one is about. This is Rabbit. This is from the Chinese horoscope. So let's see. Rabbit says, oh God, I think Joanne would have something to say about it. She has this thing about rabbit. I'm not sure I know what it is, but okay. It's time to heed the incessant call of your intuition. Your plans are coalescing. Start to execute them. Believe what you realized and be determined to pursue your life purpose through what you have found. Do not procrastinate. You can accomplish anything if you utilize your talents and step out of your comfort zone. Oh gosh, how often we heard that, right? Nonchalance will block your creative flow. Talented and artistic, you exhibit ability in many interests, but never focus on one pursuit long enough to master it. Oh, yeah, I'm guilty of that. You have big dreams, but consistency is often lacking, leading to unrealistic goals. Don't get sidetracked and distracted from your target. Strengthen your willpower to maintain the drive necessary to reach your objective. You are an old soul more capable than you know, possessing wit, knowledge, and a love of people. Your great sense of humor, optimism, and loyalty contribute to your being well-liked. You have a very friendly and caring nature, sensitive and emotional. Your attractive demeanor and smart look bring many romances. Well, maybe. Maybe not. Be adventurous to live your love life to its fullest. Okay. Rabbits tend to be lucky in life, finding the right place at the right time. And that, I think, is more key there. And Alex says, that's interesting. I have a guide that sends rabbits. Saw one yesterday. Yeah. I tend to see them too, and I've been seeing them out front, and when I do see them, I always feel for me there's like an ancestral connection when I see rabbits. But at least that seems to be, I know I had at least one medium tell me, yeah, like when you see rabbits around, that's generally family spirits, but there might be more than that as well. I think they're also a connection to kind of the Irish side of thing. And Alex says, yep, it's my pops. Oh, okay, there you go, yeah. That and cardinals, those seem to be the two things that people have said that they see that are manifestations that they think of, relatives who have passed on, which is interesting. Or at least it's a sign that from them of some kind. Not isn't necessarily exactly them, but maybe something connected to them. Okay, it says, you'll be abundantly provided for. When an opportunity comes your way, react quickly. Your charisma, kind heart, and savoir-faire make you a center of attention. You know that the world is not just black and white. Nevertheless, you sometimes intentionally ignore the shades of gray. You can be closed and stubborn when you think others don't like you, causing people to misunderstand how you truly feel. Learn to welcome constructive criticism. This is associated with the wood element, so the outdoors is a healing element. Connect with nature to enjoy tranquil replenishment. If you found morale is low, fire element will give you a boost. Some types of fire element are sunlight, the color red, and uplifting people. So those are the kind of messages decided I was going to do today. Again, because I know Suda's joined late, is just wanted to pull Wisdom of the Tao cards just to see what would come up as our themes for today. And it was that plus space clearance. So we're clearing space and we're focusing. That to me is what the real message is there. Clearing space and then figuring out what our focus is, like where we're going with certain things. And Suda says, that's nice. Yeah, it's I couldn't quite figure out. I'm kind of trying to stay away from talking too much about the drones and stuff because I did see them last night. I was what was I doing? I'd done my readings and then I might have just been I was watching my friend's live stream, and so I was looking outside and and I could see them like over again low, like they're all over the place. And Alex says, yeah, good message there. Yeah, so I was watching them again last night, and Joanne has been on Messenger. She's been sending me a lot of updates on what she's finding about the drones and everything. But it was really funny. What popped into my head last night, I was cracking up this morning because she'll send me a lot of Monty Python stuff too. And there was this album from the probably it was from the 60s or 70s, but it was the Monty Python Contractual Obligation album. And I for some reason I had this album. I might have seen it in the library or something when I was back in the 90s, I remember. This is the first time I saw it because I had copied it onto a cassette tape. That's how I know that's probably when it came from. But it was but there's a song on there, and for some reason it came into my head last night. Like a phrase came into my head. And they have this really bizarre song, they're all bizarre, called Here Comes Another One. And I'm listening to it. At first it sounds like somebody's singing it in this really annoying voice, and I'm not sure which one of them it is. But then afterwards he says, oh, that's it? He says, well, maybe it would be better with a full orchestra. So then they sing the same lyrics over and over again, like they do like a disco version, and then they do a country western version. It's actually pretty funny. But the words of the song, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much what's going on right now. Here comes another one. I don't know what it is or what it's for, and look, here comes a bunch of them. It's like a really weird song, but I'm laughing because I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what it is. Anyway, it has to be listened to be believed, but just if you do decide to go listen to it, it does start out sounding kind of annoying. The guy almost sounds like he's drunk, but it's like, it's just really funny. And I was laughing because it's just kind of like, yeah, here they come, and we don't know what they are, and we don't know what they're for. But again, I was talking with Natalie about them yesterday too, and she says, I see them. She's like, but for some reason they don't freak me out. And I'm like, well, yeah, probably because we don't need to be freaked out by them. But a lot of people were freaking out. It's the, let's see, Monty Python and that level of whimsy doesn't exist. Yeah. Yeah, well, not anymore, really. It's, that's what I keep going back to. Well, I don't understand it, so let's start shooting. That's kind of the mentality that we'll see. But, as I said, that's kind of a very, that's actually like a hyper-masculine mentality. Suda says we need that again. Well, yeah, that's it. They're very, some of the stuff they do too is kind of not too PC, but nonetheless, you have to take it in context. I mean, satire is meant to be satire. And so satire is not there to, it's there to poke fun at something that's going on. Not, when people get into things that are vicious and personal, then that is not, those are areas where I could see people say, that's not really funny. But sometimes there's just people who can't take a good ribbing or criticism. But no, Monty, yeah, the humor that they have was very, very clever. And I know there's some people, like my father never cared for it. He says, I don't really understand all that English humor. Because when he lived in England, he used to go to comedy shows and stuff, when he was in the Air Force. And he's like, yeah, I just didn't get it. And I'm like, well, I do. I love British humor. I actually like it. I mean, there's American humor I like too. But let's look at our regular reading for today. Yeah, and what's our central card? Fighting. We had this card as the internal thing yesterday. It's interesting. And those are kind of the messages that I have been getting, is just kind of like, yeah, you guys are fighting a lot. But I think it's we're fighting a lot because it's just that we're not seeing the bigger picture. Because the messages I kind of seem to get, full moon was intense yesterday. Yeah, it was last night. It is a very friendly full moon. They said this one's very friendly, and it's going to be coinciding with Mercury going direct this afternoon at about 3:56. So probably right after our little online get-together, Mercury will go direct. So we'll be celebrating the end of Mercury retrograde, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's very much... there's definitely it's a full moon in Gemini, okay? So this is why I think there's been a focus on not only relationship, because remember the Gemini is the lover's card, okay? But also a focus, no fighting, but just revealing. Well, in the revealing, though, we may be resisting what we're learning. I think a lot of times as we move into a new space, and as we integrate new knowledge, new experience, we may be resistant to it and say, you know how it is. It's kind of... It kind of goes back, it's kind of like the back in my day kind of thing. Like, well, back in my day, we did this, you kids, the way you do it today is, you're all lazy, I used to walk uphill, in 10 feet of snow, both directions with no shoes. Like, we all have that kind of thing in us, right? I know, I find myself doing that every now and again. I long for the good old days before the internet when I could go back to using a card catalog. And I know that sounds absolutely insane to people, but I just find that it's kind of what we've always learned in data working. Well, character building, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah, right. I had it much harder, and, you people are all soft. Like, yeah, like there's that kind of an energy. But nonetheless, with the fighting card, I think it's also just that things are changing, and part of us fights it because part of us just wants things to stay the same, or part of us is afraid of what that change might mean because again, there's always a part of us that and especially because it's winter, I think, because this is a time when we all kind of want to hibernate and just kind of sit back and relax. And now when we're being kind of forced to get out of our comfort zone and absorb new information and move into this space, we're all kind of like, I don't want to do this right now. You want to do it, but you don't want to do it. It's like that. That's the word that gets used a lot is Alani by Azrael. He'll say Alani, which is like, it's a two-edged sword. And that's what I had kind of come into my mind this morning, that our reason and our rationality is a two-edged sword. I was thinking about Plato and Plato's cave. But I'm also thinking about Plato's Republic. So I'm kind of thinking of the two-edged sword of Plato, where he's thinking rationality is what is our master tool that puts us above the rest of nature, or that makes us more knowledgeable and more aware. And basically the sense is no, I beg to differ. It's like, yes, knowledge can be the thing, like that consciousness is what can make you awake. But it can also be the thing where you start analyzing yourself into, into a corner. And Alex is saying, exactly, I've been thinking about Rahani and how I could still be in this old spots with so much heart opening, fighting, right? Yeah. And I've actually had Rahani clients who, when I've started working on them, like they'll have like this, like somebody will appear like, hey, we don't want you to come into this kind of space. And they're like, yeah, we saw that too. And like, why? Because they're ready, consciously they're ready for heart opening, but part of them is still those parts, those archetypal parts that we hang in, those don't let go easily. That's why it's not one of those, it's not like usually a one and done thing. You start emptying out, but then there's more emptying that needs to, it just feels like sometimes it just feels endless, but you have to, when you think about, the depth of your actual soul or the vastness of it, it's something that, to just be completely free of everything when we open our hearts. And there's still always the potential for wounding, right? And our minds frequently get in the way, because remember, the fighting card is the Knight of Swords. Okay, so it's sword energy, it's mental energy, and the inner feeling of which we're unaware. Well, I think we are kind of aware, but we may not be aware of the extent of it. Is this change? And again, this is major arcana. This is Wheel of Fortune. This is, we are making a major change. Like there's major shifts going on. Whenever I do like even the astrology cards, it's like I get the big lineup. It's like, the Yod aspect followed by Pluto, followed by Uranus, but it's also followed by Jupiter. So it's like, this is meant to expand your horizons, but it is kind of, making a mess out of everything. And the external feeling of which we are aware, community. We're part of this community. And I feel like we're also getting a sense of the bigger picture, that we are part of the universal picture. Okay? This is not, like, I'm finding even like with these sightings and stuff, it may not just be about being part of Earth. It may be being part of a system that's beyond Earth too. Or whether you want to think about that as outer space, or whether you want to think about that as being multidimensional, or both. There's a broadening of awareness here of, and the Ten of Pentacles is finding security in that global space, in that bigger space, not just the space that's about me and my little tribe, but about the bigger space, right? So what do we need to do? Well, here's the anticlimactic part: ordinariness, right? Eight of Pentacles. We just go about our ordinary business, do our ordinary things, but doing them with the Five of Wands here. This is the totality card with focus, okay? There's the focus between these two, trying to, the trapeze artist, in order to, it's funny because those are the cards we got. We need to clear space, and we need to find our truth. We have to focus. And then Alex says, haha, love it. Yeah. Because a lot of times, I remember, I seem to remember a client I had, and it may have been a while ago, but who was doing a lot of spiritual work, and what kept coming up for her was just this card. And there it is, consistency. Right, exactly, Sudha. And she said, and she just kind of said, because you feel like when you're doing this kind of work, especially if you have extraordinary experiences, like a lot of times, sometimes people's first Rahani experience, for example, will be very extraordinary. But ultimately, we just put our feet on the ground, one foot in front of the other, doing our regular life and our regular stuff. But what should change here is that our focus should change. And and I always feel like, again, it kind of goes back to that idea of we're really actually doing something, not just doing it while our mind's in 500 other places, which is typically how we do things. That's like Amma's story about the man eating the ice cream. He's eating the ice cream and he doesn't taste a bite of it because his mind is all over the place. And we can all relate to that. I will sit there in the morning. Sometimes I think that's why I would like to do these morning coffees a little later, because I'm thinking like, okay, I get up, and instead of just sitting and enjoying my coffee, I'm like, okay, I got to prepare this and I got to prepare that. And so I'm drinking my coffee and I'm not really drinking it. You know what I mean? I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing, because my mind is kind of all over the place, trying to get organized. And and it's funny, if you sit and watch your mind, I have these mornings where I can, you almost get like a vibe, like, okay, today everything is kind of in this floating in words kind of space, where I sit there and I start to do a reading or I start to do a communication, and then all of a sudden my mind starts thinking about all these things, and I'm like, wait, how did I end up over here? Like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm drifting all over the place. In spite of grounding, I'm still drifting all over the place. So, I think what we're kind of being taught is just kind of, I've often felt like if you know how to focus on the present, you can deal with whatever the future brings. That's kind of what I've heard. And I think when people are going through these kinds of major transformations and transitions, myself included, and probably everybody here as well. And again, we're all going through change in our own way. There may be external changes going on. They may feel more internal. Usually they're kind of both. Our external world change as what we feel is our internal orientation starts to shift, as we carry that kind of awareness. I find that if I go into the world with that kind of awareness, it's different from when I don't. And again, we all have days too where there has to be a certain level of acceptance of how things are, and just to deal with whatever's right in front of us, rather than to fight and go, well, I don't like the fact that this is right in front of me. Like, I just have to work with what I've got and just go with the flow. Like, let things be organic. A lot of time the mind wants to come in and wants to take control of things. I sometimes wonder if that's why I've been told to, because the guides now are saying to me, okay, for years I've engaged with magical practice and stuff, and they're like, yeah, okay, you're done with that. Because magic, to a certain degree, it's creating change and conformity with will, right? So in other words, it's the idea that through my will, I can steer the course and I can do things. And again, not like, your Harry Potter kind of waving magic wand kind of stuff, but that the certain actions that you do and the certain deities that you work with, karma creation, right, is what Sudha is saying. Yeah, you're doing certain things, and rather than allowing things to happen to you. And I find, interestingly, for a lot of us with our designs, when I go through human design, in fact, I don't, possibly other than manifestors, I don't know that there's any type where the strategy is, get out there and, put yourself out there. Most of the time, the strategy is wait for the invitation, right? Or some form of waiting for an interaction rather than initiating one. And I always found, doing, not being. I pulled the High Priestess yesterday. Yeah. And the High Priestess, it has to do with that which is in mystery. Mystery is a word that comes up a lot when I'm doing the Enochian work. There's a couple different words for mystery. There's Ananael, which is more like secret wisdom, and I think Chikle is the word for mystery in Enochian. And it's basically the idea that's so interesting to think about. I wonder if that's why magical practice has never looked like others. Well, you know what? I don't think mine ever did either. And that's a reason when people say, like, oh, you should teach it. We got it yesterday as well, if I'm not mistaken. We did, and it came up as the inner voice card. Yes, you're right. If you're not mistaken. Yes, it's right. You're right. We did. And so the idea is that when you allow yourself to be immersed in the mystery, when Campbell talks about the 4 functions of mythology, which I also say are the functions of religion, the first one is what they call the metaphysical level, and that's the level of the mystery. And that's why I said yesterday, religion is a means of negotiating the unknown at that top level. Like, if you talk about a mystic's experience, a mystic doesn't know. That the whole point is, like, the whole via negativa theology is, you can only say what God is not. You can't say what God is. We don't know what that is. There's a lot we don't know through our mental evaluation. So we just have to accept that it's there and let it do its thing. And through that, we gain an understanding of it, but it may be something that's more felt in our being, rather than something that our mind can dissect and analyze. Because it may be one of those things that once you try to dissect and analyze it, you've lost it, As soon as you start sitting there and saying, it's kind of like if you're meditating and then you go, wow, I've achieved stillness. Now you've lost it as soon as you say that. The mind always wants to be involved and be interpreting what's going on. That's the double-edged sword of consciousness. You're aware, but then your mind wants to go in and put all this stuff on it. And yeah, because words are necessary, but there's times when we need to have that silence, So it's like, how do you be silent and wordy at the same time? Sounds like a Zen koan, doesn't it? But anyway, it's interesting. So thank you guys for joining me today. A little bit of a smaller group today, but I imagine we'll probably see everybody who's been in the school and who's been in the classes and so forth on the Zoom call today, which is going to be at 1. And like I said, just bring your favorite whatever. Like I said, everybody just whatever people need to be comfortable. Thank you for your wisdom. You're welcome. You're welcome. And glad you could join us this morning. And usually I see you over on the other live stream, so it's good that you could join us this morning. And and I'll see some of you this afternoon. Just, like I said, whatever makes you comfy. Yes, thanks. Looking forward to seeing folks today. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody this afternoon. I'm going to finish up a few things this morning, and I will be on. I'll try to get on a few minutes before 1 for people who want to start filtering in early, but Yay! Yeah, I know. Looking forward to seeing everyone. It's nice. It'd be nice if we could all meet in person, but at least virtually, at least that's something, right? So, yeah, everybody enjoy your Sunday morning. I'll see some of you this afternoon. And, yeah, so take care.